Hey YouTube! Firebird! Are probably actually not called a Firebird because this is not a Gibson, it's a Tokai. Made in Korea, as it says on the back. Yeah, so we've got set neck. It's got this raised bit in the middle, like an original Firebird, and on the back as well. So it's kind of thicker and then thinner in the middle. I think the original Firebirds were, they're not one of the first ever through neck guitars, or one of the first big through neck guitars. Yeah, so Firebird, yeah. These are kind of weird guitars. Mini humbuckers is part of the Firebird thing. I know you probably get them. In fact, I'm sure you can get them now with humbuckers, but originally, and it was they were numbered. There was like one that only had one pickup, and then there was the two pickup one, and there was for some reason I think this is a Firebird 5 copy. Maybe. Also, it's a reverse body Firebird, because originally Firebird was that shape, but Brian Jones had one of them. But I think Fender were legal wrangles with them because it was too much like is that a Jaguar or a Jazz bass? So it's upside down, and it's a Firebird now. So I mean, it's massive. It really is. I mean, it's got an especially long headstock, which probably isn't actually. If I compare it to like a Strat, for example, well, it's not a Strat. Oops. Yeah, I mean it is. It's 2 inches longer. But because it's upside down, it feels even longer. I find that with the Paul Gilbert guitar, because there's no. When you're looking at it, you're seeing smooth. It seems even longer than it actually is. The original Firebirds had banjo tuners on them, but this one has just normal upside down tuners. Yeah, so 3 humbuckers. I don't actually know how the wiring's done yet. I've just literally picked this up. I tuned it first. This is my pal T-Guns. I've had a few Firebirds recently, or not Firebirds, Phoenix, which are LTD's version, which I actually quite liked. They were really good. I'm kind of used to them a wee bit now. The thing about a Firebird is it's not necessarily what it looks like. It kind of looks like it's going to be like a heavy metal guitar, sort of, but maybe not. But it's not, because it's got the mini humbuckers and stuff. It's kind of for something else. It's quite neck divey. Although I do notice that the button has been moved from there to there. I would think that it's probably not neck divey if you put the button in the original place. I'm always a little bit worried about, see when you've got like a sloping bit like that, with the strap, it's kind of a bit peely-offy. You know, rather than having a good solid grounding, it seems to be a bit peely-offy. So I would probably put it back there. In fact, see, this is already a hole. I might actually do that just for this video. So it's got like a really clubby neck, kind of like actually not unlike that Gibson, the Epiphone Explorer I've got just now, which I still need to sell. Anyone want to buy an Epiphone Explorer? Satin black. I keep forgetting about it. So, sorry Chris, I was going to say I haven't forgotten about your guitar. I haven't forgotten about it long term, but I keep forgetting about it. And I keep thinking, oh, I'll put it on tonight. And I don't want to put it on a Facebook Marketplace because of the live stream. I don't want to be getting messages about people wanting to buy it. And Sunday night's the best time to sell things, which is kind of why the Sunday night works for me, because that's when everyone's sort of sitting looking up guitars or listening to me talking shit. But that was always when I sold things and bought things. It was always the best, 7 o'clock on a Sunday night was the best time to sell things on Facebook Marketplace, or to let eBay auctions at end. Yeah, so I think this is, I don't think it's brand new, but I think it's very nearly brand new. T-Gun tends to buy guitars that are either end of liney type things, or, because the things, if you're buying a guitar that's a year old or something, you pay 2/3 what you would have if you bought it last year, sort of thing. So he's very much in that, which I totally get. I don't think these white knobs are original. I'm pretty sure he said something about the original knobs, which I don't think look right either. I can't remember what kind of knobs it's got are in the bag. Which also the Firebird, it's got a Firebird on it. I don't think there's probably a copyright on the actual Gibson Firebird, but it's got funny looking wee legs. See the legs on the Firebird? Yeah, like, Yeah. Dramatic bridge. I'm assuming it's I'm going to assume it's Gibson scale, but I mean, I don't actually know. It feels longer, but I mean, it's a lot of things are, yeah, Gibson 24 3/4. It's just because the whole guitar, it can make such a difference with these things, like having the long neck. Because if you look, I mean, okay, it feels like it's got a really long neck. The neck's the same length as, okay, it's got an extra, as I said, it's got an extra 2 inches on the headstock, but the bridge is here, whereas that's a big bit of width behind it. Like if you look at a Thunderbird bass, which is actually the same size of body, the body's exactly the same as a Thunderbird bass, but the bridge is here, so there's that much more. Yeah. Probably not. Was it 34 inches? So I was really talking about kind of 10 inches. Probably, a Thunderbird bass probably isn't that much longer. Really, although they don't have the P bass type bridge, do they? They've got the sort of the 3-point, so they're maybe not quite on the edge. If you look at a P bass, not that one, you can see the bridge, the string, pretty much, you know, they're an inch off the back of the bodies to get the body as compact as possible. But these things are not all just for practical. I mean, it looks cool as fuck. I wish I could play some Roxy music, although I think Roxy music, Phil Manzarella in America, his one's just red. This is a sort of candy apple red. So let's turn it on and see what happens. Right, so bridge pickup. So that's a volume. That's a tone. They must be for something else. So we've got a volume and a tone. See, only many humbuckers do that. But I'd have to admit that I had a couple of guitars through that had mini humbuckers, thinking, oh, mini humbuckers, they must be cool. You know, so I was really impressed when I first heard P90s. I just didn't like them at all. But I bought a Yamaha AEX, like a sort of jazzy type, sort of like a big semi-hollow Les Paul type thing with mini humbuckers in it, and they totally made sense in that because it's got a sort of almost acousticy neck, and it's this kind of almost has. It's kind of not actually. Looks nothing like the Yamaha. It's kind of the similar sort of thing where you've got a chordy. I found myself playing chords on it. They're really good for chords. Mini humbuckers for some reason. And I found that when you're using a small amount of drive, like if I put on my tube screamer, they distort really, really quickly, but still maintain enough clarity so you can actually hear individual notes, so you can play chords, like full chords. Not very heavy metal-y. I don't know, I mean, obviously somebody must play a Firebird heavy metal. In fact, there's a Jim Root, is it Jim Root from Slipknot, not play one, but he's got EMG pickups in it. But big jangly thing. they sound really good with that. It's not actually a tube screamer, it's a TC El Cambo, which is, I think, kind of like a tube screamer. Yeah, so that's the bridge pickup. So if I go into the middle, or go to the neck pickup, right? That's a neck volume. There are 3 pickups. I'm wondering how the third one comes in. I'm wondering, is that a volume as well? No. I'm saying that's a tone also. So how's the third pickup in? Mini humbucker. These are. This sounds amazing. It's totally like humbucker. I was up here. Oh, no, single coils for clean, humbuckers for distortion, but mini humbuckers for clean also. I'm kind of expecting it not to do so well when I put the rat pedal on, but clean and with that tube screamer on. Oh, by the way, I'm playing through the Orange TH30. There's a reverb pedal on as well. But I take it, if I tap these, they're not going to, because they're covered, it's not going to be obvious. Well. Okay, you can tell. So if I go in the middle. I think the middle position is these two. This might be, you can probably look it up and find out what it does, but I think the middle position is these two on. So you get bridge, these two, neck. I think there'll be a reason for that. I'm wondering if it sounds kind of starati. That's just a tone, right? Middle. Volume does nothing. Tone does nothing. What I think's happening here is I think the bridge volume, neck volume, bridge tone, neck tone, and in the middle position you get these two together and there is no volume. I think the middle one's on full bung and then you can sort of blend in the bridge pickup. I think that's what's happening. It's hard to tell. Turn that down. Just apart from not fully off. I think that's pretty much the mid pickup on its own. The middle pickup's actually set much lower than the other two. I think that should bring in the bridge. You hear the tone works on the bridge, but if you've got this down at so it's the bridge pickup's just on, but we're listening basically to the middle one. I think the tone control only affects the bridge pickup, which is barely on. I'm going to put some bass on it because I always put bass on things. Also, before I put on the rat pedal, because I might be wrong, it might sound absolutely amazing with the rat pedal, but I've just got a feeling that it's one of those things that, see, when you've got like your active super or your super heavy pickups that are for thrash metal, they don't perform in the situation we're in just now, where I'm using a low powered, a low drive thing. They're kind of a bit crappy, but once you start boosting the gain up, once you get slabs and slabs of gain on, suddenly they come into their own, because they're still quite clear. Whereas the pickups I normally use, like your sort of DiMarzio super distortion types, work really well with the rat pedal in here, but if you put on tons and tons of gain, they turn to mush. Whereas I think the mini humbuckers are even more extreme than that. So basically, clean, amazing, slight amount of gain. They take gain so quickly that they become distorted at really, really low levels. But once you turn up to the rat pedal, I think it's just going to turn to mush. I think. And then obviously if you go to Metallica type super metal, it'll be complete mush. But each to their own, really. It's more, I'd say that was more of a sound preference thing. Fix the volume control on this, so I can now use the tone control and turn the volume down, and the tone control stays working. Love this bass. It doesn't go with this t-shirt in the way. Well, that bit there. Better. Yeah. Where that came from. So rat pedaled up. did sound quite good with the rat pedal, so I mean, I'm wrong about that. Yeah. Maybe a little bit mushy. Normally the rat's an awful lot more piercing and mix beating. This is a little bit more sort of fuzzy in the background kind of distortion. Yeah, that's exactly. It's like they're more. These pickups, like on like a Tube Screamer set to sort of mild overdrive, are quite rocking. When you get onto a rat pedal, they're kind of maxed out. Back to the Tube Screamer. Yeah, that's kind of what they're for, that way. Like that wee dip bit. Yeah, so I mean, that's kind of not what I was expecting, to be honest. Well, it's half what I was expecting. I'm actually quite liking it. The off balance thing. I'm having to stand with my leg on the, well, it's not a monitor, it's a settee, but on a futon to kind of balance it. It is, you're kind of holding it up, which is annoying. But I think that's because that strap button's been moved. I think it's meant to be there. I wonder why someone changed it. Yeah, but you never know what shape people are. Was it the bass, the guy from the Bucky Rage? I've never actually met him, I've talked to him online. I got his bass in and I was like, yeah, this guy must be really tall because the strap was, right down at my knees on the bass. And I was like, no, I'm not really tall. And he's built like a barrel. He's about this wide and this high. So that's why he's got the strap long. So you might find that due to the shape of whoever it is, if they've got a big belly or no belly or whatever, that's maybe why it's been moved. So, I suppose to a certain extent, similar problems with the Explorer idea. As in, I don't think you can lean this against the wall. No, you can't, because it doesn't have a flat bottom. So you have to put it down. Not that leaning against the wall is a good idea, obviously, but one of a guitar stand, the one with the bit like that at the top and the two bits at the bottom that do this, it'll fit in them. It's got its own gig bag. I don't think this is fitting in a regular gig bag, or if it is, you're going to have to do the old what's the one you get in Thoman? It kind of takes all the pointies. It's basically just a big square, a big bendy square that you can put anything in. But I kind of like the idea of a fitted one. But that's just one of the things about the one that's a wee bit different is the Washburn Stage series, which is kind of in this direction, and it's a wee bit like an Explorer as well, but they've somehow managed to make it so it's square in the bottom and that it fits in a case, which is in some ways a better design, but not as iconic as a Firebird, obviously. Really strange feeling thing. Not really to play. It's like, actually, to be honest, see where your arm sits on this bit. It's been designed so that your hand sits there and your arm kind of rests in this bit. It's pretty obvious that's why it is. That's why, you know, as I was saying, the bridge doesn't start here and it's got a stumpy neck, because then you would be. It's very much, this is the bit that your arm comes over, which is very nice. I'm sure I had another interesting point to make, but I've been talking too long. Yeah, just again, if you've never played, well, there's like an Ibanez Destroyer, well, this is an Explorer, or this, the neck feels very long. I've already said, yes, there's a big gap here, so that this distance is a base, full on, lengthwise. But see, because there's nothing here, there's no horn here like you get on a Strat or something. You're looking straight down at the neck join, so the neck, this bit, although it's the same length as a Les Paul or something like that, because there's nothing here, it makes it seem much longer. This seems further away. But that's purely just getting you. Once you've played one for half an hour, you totally used to it. It's the same with all. I mean, if you've played an Explorer or a Stage series or a Destroyer or something, and then you move on to this, it's like, you know, that will not. I'm only doing this from memory because it was years ago. I mean, that was my first band when I had the Aria ZZ. That was the first time I ever had an Explorer, so I've known about it. I've got used to that over the years, but it is a really bizarre thing. This one's a wee bit bigger actually. An Explorer kind of tends to be have even less of this bit, making the neck seem even longer. Same with the Thunderbird bass. I think I probably said the same thing. I was on the same chap. The Nicky 6 Thunderbird bass, and it feels, because it's a bass, it feels even longer as well because it doesn't have this bit which normally sits there and obscures your view. So normally when you're looking down the guitar, you're going, 12th fret, that's fine. Whereas, you know, the fretboard ends up here somewhere, but 12th fret, whereas in this one it's like, you can totally see the edge of the fretboard. Just checking there's no push pulls. I don't think there's any. It's too classic-y. So I wonder if that was the way the original pickups were wired with a three-way switch, having the middle. I think it must be a different type of switch as well. It can't be the standard one. There is the old Gibson ones were a bit different because they used to be. Everyone who looks up the wiring to do, it's like, I think I'll have a wee go at guitar wiring. What are you going to do? Maybe put a coil split in or a Dave Gilmour switch? No, I'm going to go for the full Jimmy Page wiring on my first attempt. Right. So you're going to do, instead of just putting in a switch, you're going to put in 4 push-pull pots inside the cavity. Yeah. Just rein yourselves back a little bit. But one of the problems is the only way you can really make that work properly is if you look at the diagram, which looks easiest to follow. This switch is not the one that you've probably got. The switch that you get has got an extra terminal on it. That's how they do the Jimmy Page wiring. It can be sort of done, but you don't get the full whack. It turns it off in some positions. There's a problem with it. I just basically refuse to do Jimmy Page wiring. I don't think it's worth it. You end up with a synthesizer. I always try and cut down how much switches I put in guitars, because once you've got too many, you spend more time flipping the switches than you do actually playing the thing. So I like the idea of having, half a dozen sounds, or 3 really good ones and a couple of extra ones. That's pretty good. I don't really want to have. I can't remember what my biggest one. I think it was something stupid. I think it was a million. I think I did a guitar that had 1 million sounds, or was it 100,000? Something completely stupid. Obviously, not 100,000. Really, really easy to tell the difference, but electrically different. So on an oscilloscope, different. I'm sure it was in the thousands. What's 10 factorial? 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 is what the decimator did. That's a lot, but I think I did more than that somewhere. So I was like, what are you doing? I was like, I've been in the studio for 2 days now. I'm still trying to find the sound. I'm still fidgeting with switches. So yes, lovely. I've no idea how much these cost. I don't think it's a cheap guitar. I think this is a £700-800 guitar. It'll be cheaper than a Gibson, and probably more expensive than an Epiphone, and better than an Epiphone. I would have a good guess at that. There's no serial number indicating age, but I'm saying newish, within 5 years, I think. But I don't actually have. In fact, I built one. I used to have another go at that and get it back out again. I wonder if I can get Jen to paint it. I built a Firebird, a blonde one, and put many humbuckers in it. I put a Bigsby on it, and that's basically what screwed it up. I put a Bigsby on it, like a cheapy, nasty Bigsby, and I hated it, and I've never really played the guitar because I hated that Bigsby. But because I drilled the holes to put the Bigsby in, it was just really annoying. You don't see a lot of copies of Firebirds. There's a Westfield one I used to see quite a lot. You go, quite fancy. £250. I'm not paying £250 for a Westfield. Snobbery in action. And I don't think you probably do get an original Tokai Japanese one, but you don't see them often at my price range. Not at the sort of price I want to pay for a guitar, a couple £100 sort of thing. They don't really exist. The only way I get the Firebird, I think even the Epiphone ones are worth a lot more than that. But they are kind of, when you come down to super practicalness of it, you end up with an RG being the most practical of all. Strat's pretty good, but the RG's got humbuckers in it as well. The Floyd Rose, it basically can do sort of anything, like a great all-rounder, sort of like a tool, whereas this, a very specific niche. I can totally get some people absolutely loving these, and some people just going, that's just crap, I can't play that. I think you could probably learn your way out of it. I used to think that a wee bit about them, but I can play this. I don't know if it's one I would have to adjust that strap, because I'm using the thigh strap. But great fun. And I do, if you want something different, that's the thing. You dare to be different. It's like, I suppose if it's one of those things, if you're going to buy like a Gibson, I imagine a Gibson one's about £5,000 or something like that. You really make sure you've played it a lot in the shop before you buy it, rather than buying it, getting it, open it up, going, this is great, and then going, oh, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. This went for clean. Oh no, I wanted it to play Sepultura. And it's like, that's when you get one of those Floyd Rose FRXs and get 3 Seymour Duncans in it. Rock on, and I'll catch you later. Like and subscribe and all that, and I get demonetized again on my live stream. Just like fed up with that. So if you feel guilty, which I don't think you really should, but I'd realise if you hit that thanks thing, give me £1, that'd be awesome, because I'm no longer getting money every month off YouTube because the live stream just it gets demonetized, and then that's it, and basically it gets demonetized as soon as I do it, so I don't get any money for it at all. So I don't make enough money to get. I've got to make £60 to get money out of the bank, at the end of the month, to get money out of YouTube, and I'm not even getting half that now. Whereas I used to get it every month. And then they started doing this live stream thing. I even went on to the customer services, and the guy was, oh, it's a really good algorithm. It's really good, and it's like, yeah, but the problem is, I've got to every single week I contest the thing to get a human review. Every single time it gets cleared, but the thing is that I do the live. I don't know when I get flagged as doing something wrong. It's gone. 250 people watch it without any adverts, so I don't get anything from it. We're talking about, it's something like £1 for 1,000 views. It's not big dosh, but I'm noticing not getting the money now. It's really annoying. And it's the guy who's like, oh, it's a really good algorithm. It's not a really good algorithm. Here's my problem. And he's like, oh yes, I see your problem. What can I do? Oh, put it up for human review. Yeah, the problem is I do that every single week. It takes them 3 days to human review it, and then it comes up and it's fine. Oh, right, yeah, so what's the problem? That's when all the views come after I've done it. Oh, alright, okay. Is there anything else I can help you with? What do you mean, else? Anything else you can help me with? You've not helped me with this at all. All you've done is waste an hour of me sitting there going, how can I stop this? How can I find out what it is I'm doing wrong to get flagged? But it doesn't tell you. I thought maybe it was because I was smoking. So I haven't done that. Drinking? You're allowed to drink on YouTube. I'm not talking about any. I'm not using horrendous swearing words. I'm swearing a bit, but not excessively. Sorry, that turned into a bit of a rage rant. Sorry. Rock on. Catch you later. I'm going over to Jen's this afternoon. There's so many. I've still got that video. I've did a video for the from the camper van. It's an hour and a half long. I can't be bothered editing it. There's no fun editing. It's not my thing. That's hence why I don't do it. I just do all these live because editing's just a crap and boring thing to do. Maybe if I did that, I would get more views and stuff. But I mean, I don't like watching editing things. So sod it. Rock on. I'll be away this time.